Someone's in love. You need a moment alone?
I do.
All right.
Hey guys, Metal Jesus here, and I am back again with another video with some highlights from my epic road trip through Oregon State. I am joined on this trip with my good bud, Drunken Master Paul, as well as my wife, Rebecca. In the previous video, we spent most of our time on the Oregon coast, starting off in a little town called Manzanita. We drove a few miles to the town of Seaside, where we practically had our brains scrambled riding on these old school bumper cars. And then we quickly moved on to the Coos Bay area, where I found one of the most amazing local retro gaming shops I have ever found. Some amazing finds there. And then my buddy Paul rented some ATVs and took to the Oregon dunes. But now it's time to move on, and we're gonna head inward into Oregon State and check out the amazing Crater Lake National Park. This is one of the most beautiful places I've ever been to. And then we're going to head over to Bend, Oregon, and this is going to be really fun because we're going to check out the last Blockbuster on planet Earth. That's right, there's only one left. As well as do some game hunting because Bend has two pretty cool retro gaming stores. Let's take a look. On this leg of the road trip, our ultimate goal is to reach Bend, Oregon. However, about halfway between there and Coos Bay is the world-famous Crater Lake. As we're heading up there, we were surprised to learn that the mountain is still covered in snow. It was really wild because, again, as you are getting closer, it starts off where it's dry looking, but then slowly the snow just starts building up. And then once you get to the top, you can't even see into Crater Lake. There's so much snow. You actually have to climb a massive snowbank, and then you can finally see the amazing Crater Lake.
I don't think we could have asked for better weather, huh?
I'm glad we made the trip up here because it was long, but this is really pretty.
Yeah, it's worth it.
Yeah, this is really cool. If you're not familiar with Crater Lake, well, it is the deepest lake in the entire US, measuring at over 1,900 feet deep. And this was formed by a volcano that blew its top over 7,000 years ago. Now, what's wild is all of the water is solely from just snow and rain. There are no rivers that feed it, actually. That's why it's so pure and so clear. And wow, this place is crazy. I'm not sure if you can really pick this up on a YouTube video and get the scale of this place, but it is massive. And we were kind of lucky because on this particular day, there was no wind. And as you see here, the water was completely still. It looked like a massive mirror. The footage here makes the lake look kind of small, right? But it's actually almost 5 miles wide. Really breathtaking stuff. I highly recommend you check it out, although I would probably recommend you go in June or July when some of the snow has been melted off.
Here's Rebecca in the wild, in her natural habitat, scouting, looking for coffee. You looking for coffee? Want some coffee?
But even though it's a little bit out of the way, I'm very glad that we came and checked this out because I hadn't been here since I was a little kid, and Rebecca and Paul had never seen it before, and they left blown away. Because the trip to Crater Lake was so long and kind of out of the way, we decided to not push through to Bend, but instead we stopped about halfway at a camping site called The Last Resort. This is a pretty neat place out in the middle of the forest, and basically what they do is have different things that you can rent. So we got a cabin, but you can also get an RV, and then you can also get like a tent to stay in here. So different levels of how much camping you like to do, but it was a great way to end a very chill day. The next morning we get up and we're gonna head to Bend, Oregon, which is about 130 miles away. However, I have made a huge mistake. So we're having a little bit of range anxiety because we're out in the middle of freaking nowhere, and I forgot to gas up
the little market next to the campground, which I believe was the plan. Yeah, and all three of us didn't even think of it before we left. So,
and it's amazing when you get out of the city in the middle of the forest, where I mean, there just isn't. There's no cell service, or it's very, very spotty. You can go like miles without it. And so, even if you're trying to look up at the closest gas station, you can't. Like, it's
over there somewhere.
It's so weird. I know. I had enough gas to go about 75 miles. However, the closest gas station was about 90 miles. I was stressing a little bit. This was a real shock to me because I'm a city boy. I mean, where I live, you know, there's probably 3 gas stations in less than 5 miles from me. So I never really worry about having to fill up my car or run out of gas. But when you are in the middle of nowhere and your GPS isn't working, and the last thing that you know is on this freeway is gas way off, almost 90 miles away, man, you gotta plan for that stuff. I did think it was pretty interesting how my car will tell me my current gas mileage, and when I was in eco mode and just barely feathering the gas on these really straight roads, well, you can see, I mean, sometimes I was technically getting 100 miles per gallon. I thought that was pretty funny. Now, thankfully, I was able to stop along the way, just barely. I had 5 miles left of range and fill up and continue on the way to Bend, Oregon. But yeah, that was a bit of a stressful moment for me for sure. We rolled into Bend, Oregon around 2 p.m. and then we just kind of wandered into this farmer's market that happened to be down at the waterfront in downtown Bend. And we're walking around and it was a beautiful day, super hot out, and wow, yeah, we're here, we're loving it. We also checked into our Airbnb, which is very close to downtown actually, so it's within walking distance, and as you see here, it's actually a pretty nice place. It has a big living room that we can all hang out in, as well as a full kitchen and 2 beds and 2 baths. What we discovered is that booking these Airbnbs is usually a better deal than if we were to try to book 2 hotel rooms. An Airbnb is usually cheaper, has more stuff, and frankly is just more comfortable. Before I booked this trip, I reached out to all of you on Facebook and Twitter and asked you which places you think I should visit when I go to Bend. And the number 1 response was, we gotta check out the last Blockbuster on Earth. Dude, we are in Bend, Oregon at the last Blockbuster in the entire United States.
It wasn't my fault. I like Blockbuster. I didn't want them to go away. But yeah, this is amazing. And apparently all you guys wanted us to absolutely come here, so let's check it out.
All right, let's take a look. They're doing rentals. Like, I thought it would just be...
I did not expect that at all.
Yeah.
But it's obviously DVDs and not VHS.
Yeah.
But 99 cents.
I wonder if
for 7 days. 7 whole days rental.
Yeah, for $1.
Yeah, wow.
Now, I'm sure the majority of you watching my videos will remember Blockbuster and how they were massive during the 80s and 90s. And then, after Netflix came along, they pretty much died out. However, this one franchise owner has been allowed to keep this open and functioning. And it is wild walking in here. This is like stepping back into a living museum. As you can see from this footage, it is still packed with aisles of DVDs and Blu-rays that you can rent. I mean, they're really well stocked. Like, look at this. This is
yeah,
legit. It's real.
It's not like the bargain bin at Goodwill.
Right. And what's cool is they have the latest releases as well.
So, dude, have you seen this?
No, I want to see it though.
Yeah, this is
Violent Night.
Violent Night. We rented it the moment it came out.
Oh yeah. This is another movie I want to see too. It's Terrifier 2. People got so upset that they left the theater.
Really?
Yes, this is supposed to be like super hardcore. So
wow.
I haven't seen it yet. I really
never even heard of it.
Yeah. Probably the highlight of this place is that they have this classic 1980s living room set up right here, complete with VHS movies. It also has that Be Kind rewind device that you would use as a kid. They are fully embracing their history and your memories of going here. And to capitalize on that, there's a lot of really cool merchandise that you can buy for the fans and people who just are kind of missing those days of digging through, physical media and choosing your weekend movie selection. And so yes, I had to buy a t-shirt for Reggie because he loves Blockbuster. I also got a shot glass and some magnets for the refrigerator, stuff like that.
So this is the kind of thing that I would want to get.
I would love to have this in the game room.
Yeah,
I
no
love
kidding.
this movie so much. You know me, I can't go very long without trying to do some game hunting, and so we're going to check out 2 game stores in Bend. The first one is a little hole in the wall called White Rabbit Games, and it's very easy to miss, actually. You could drive by this building and never know that there's actually a video game store in there, but there is. All right, dude, we're going to check out White Rabbit Games.
Oh, down the rabbit hole, I guess.
I guess so. And as you can see here, it's not a very big place, but it does have a lot of stuff to choose from. I mean, there's a mix of video games as well as pop culture, statues, collectibles, things like that. And on that note, I would probably say that this place really specializes in figures and those, stand-up collectibles, things like that. They have some really cool figures. Like, come here, check this one out over here.
Yeah, wonderful.
Like Dark Souls right here.
Oh yeah, that's
beautiful.
cool.
And then look at this, Elden Ring as well.
Yeah, that's
Really cool. And while, yes, this place is small, what I find interesting is that retro gaming stores like this can thrive in places like Bend. That is real. That is so you.
Yeah, this is probably going to come home with me.
I was going to say, $29, dude. You need to own that.
I love that movie. It's one of my all-time favorite movies.
We were here for about an hour, and it was the middle of a work week, and they probably had 3 or 4 customers come in that were helping, support it and buying stuff. It was really cool to see. Speaking of which, at the counter, I spotted a fairly uncommon PlayStation 2 game I was looking for, as well as a couple 3DS games. And it's weird because I'm not going for a complete 3DS collection. I don't even know how many games are available on that system. However, I do feel like that I want to own as many of the physical 3DS games as I possibly can. But when I'm at a place like this, I always need to double check if I have something already, and so that's where I use the CLZ Games app. This is a cataloging software on your smartphone, and basically what I do is I scan the barcode of the game, and I like how it'll bring it up and tell me its value, so you can see how much the game is worth loose, also complete, new, and graded. You can also track things like where you bought it, how much you paid for it, and whether you completed it or not. Now, CLZ Games is the sponsor of this video. However, I've been paying for a subscription of this on my own for the past several years because I like it so much and I use it so much. And it's only $14 a year, so it's pretty reasonable. But if you want to check it out and see if it's right for you and your game collection, I'll put a link down to the video description below. Next, we're going to check out a game store called Game Quest. As you can see by this footage, this is a much bigger store than White Rabbit, and it also has a bigger selection. The dude who's running this place and owns it is a really nice guy. He wanted to make a point that they take a lot of pride in their console repairs. He was telling me that providing really good customer service and specifically just doing a great job fixing people's consoles and hardware is what he really takes a lot of pride in. That's kind of what he wants to bring to the Bend area. Now, this place definitely had a lot of video games, but because of its larger size, they are able to also have more pop culture collectibles here. Some really weird stuff too that I hadn't seen before, like this old James Bond board game. This was like, what the heck is this? You can tell he really loves Halo. He had a lot of Halo stuff for sale. I ended up getting this Star Wars action figure from the movie Solo, which is a movie that actually I kind of like, even though not everybody liked the Solo movie, but I thought it was pretty cool. And then Rebecca spotted a physical copy of Blasphemous, which I was definitely looking for. And I was like, oh my gosh, that's really cool. And, checked the app, and yeah, it was a really good price. I also got an Xbox 360 faceplate that I didn't have in the collection. Now, I don't know if I've mentioned it yet or not, but I eventually plan to do a big YouTube video all about the Xbox 360 faceplates. I just think that the 360 faceplates was such a quirky and fun part of that Xbox generation. And so over the last couple years, I've been casually looking for these faceplates. Surprisingly, there are hundreds of them out there, and some of them are getting kind of hard to find. And I didn't have this Grand Theft Auto one, and so that's going home with me. What I've been looking for. Cool. If you've been watching my channel for a while now, you may have noticed that one of our favorite beers that Paul and I will talk about is Black Butte Porter. Well, that tasty beer is made here in Bend, Oregon at the Deschutes Brewery. And we were so excited to finally visit this place. It was like going, I don't know, to the Vatican or something like that, you know, the equivalent of it, because we've loved this beer for so long, and to be able to go into the actual brewery, oh, we were so excited. We checked out Vector Volcano Arcade, which is a small arcade, and basically what they do, they charge you an entrance fee of $7, and then you can play anything you want for an hour. Now, I've been in a lot of arcades, but what struck me about this one is that the selection of games was decidedly very old school. It was cool seeing a sit-down version of Pole Position, and then Paul noticed this motorcycle game that personally I had never seen before. I mean, we're talking old school right here. It was really cool seeing a stand-up Dragon's Lair machine, but I love how they also had that TV sitting on top so that the people behind you could also watch what you're playing. Overall, we had a fantastic time in Bend, Oregon. We did a little of everything. It was nice to walk around Bend. It's such a beautiful city, but then also do some game hunting as well as checking out that last Blockbuster. But we're not done yet. In the next video, we're gonna be heading up to Eugene, Oregon. That's where we check out the Goodwill Superstore, which has an entire section dedicated to video games and electronics. There are 2 more game stores we're going to visit in Eugene, as well as check out one of the coolest music stores I have ever seen called House of Records. We actually get a private tour of their downstairs storage area, and I'm telling you, it's amazing. But as always, guys, I want to thank you for watching my channel. Thank you for subscribing, and take care.